Start with a game. Well, first let's introduce ourselves. My name is Jayla. My name is Jayla Jones. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams. We're here today to go over credit, go over how to purchase a home, and the first steps on what you should take to do that. And then I have Ty with me. He can introduce himself. Can you see yourself?
Yeah, I'm terrible. Okay, now I can see that. Hi, everybody. I'm Tyler Culverson. I am a financial literacy educator. I have about 7 years in banking, but I'm also a full-time entrepreneur, business owner. I actually own a home, and I also was recently named Fab 40 Under 40 for the Pittsburgh Courier. I'm a mobile notary. I sit on 3 boards for nonprofit organizations. I'm an avid networker. And we'd be here all day if I got into a lot of other stuff that I do. But it's a pleasure to meet you all, and I'm excited to have a conversation.
All right, so we're gonna start this off with a game so we can see where everybody is at, and Tyler will be taking over this. And if you do have Kahoot, you can put your game pin in. That's how that works.
Yeah.
All right, you can switch me sides so you can get in there.
And you can pick a nickname that you would like. Just say keep Big Bootylicious and the inappropriate nicknames to yourself.
So keep it kosher.
Yeah.
Jackie, hop on the game.
And I will preference by it's a mixture of all type of questions centered around financial literacy, home buying. It's not really structured, I'll be honest, but it's enough to get a sense of where people are at with what you know about the steps that it takes to purchase a home. So, there'll be some questions that may seem random, but I promise you that at some point they tie into the home buying process. We're still waiting for players.
Okay.
Can they see the pen?
Can you see this? You can see the pen, how you log on to that?
And I ain't gonna lie, this is the first time I've tried this through a Zoom.
Through Zoom? Yeah. All right, so let's see if we can work this. So join it. Actually, I'm gonna get in on my phone so we can all get in. Let me get into Instagram.
They may have to do the app. Or I think you can do it through the website too, or through email.
All right, y'all. On my Instagram, people, get on Kahoot. This is the code. Kahoot, y'all know the game? Get on and play. 801-8125.
And I won't lie to you. It'll probably increase your chance of winning this Amazon gift card.
Yeah, so all you got to do is get on Kahoot. And then one of you lucky winners will get that $50 Amazon gift card. So that's the code, 801-8125. All right, y'all hear me? Get on. I'm waiting for you. Thank you. Okay. All right, I think I have Kahoot. So
Oh, Jackie. Woo-hoo.
Jackie! Yay, Jackie!
We got one.
I'll take it. You see that? Jackie, listen, Jackie might be getting this $50 Amazon gift card now.
Right.
So join Kahoot and then put in this code. 801, that's a little backwards for y'all. 801-8125. Get on Kahoot. All right. And then I'm going to get on too. Let's see if I can.
What up, everybody? To make it better, you gotta pay a lot of money for it.
Right.
No, just give me the basic.
We'll take that. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get my Facebook people to log in. Okay, we're gonna have to do another intro. Hey, everybody.
What up? How you doing?
We are here today. It's me, Jayla Jones, your local real estate agent.
And it's Tyler Culverson, your local financial literacy educator and all around master networker.
Okay, go-to guy. All right, so we are here and we're starting it off with a game of Kahoot. So I need all of my Facebook friends to go ahead and download Kahoot. The code to join is 801-8125. All right, 801-8125. So get on in there. Sorry, Instagram. All right, so Jackie's in. So we're gonna get started. Can we start with Jackie, or we need two people?
No, I think we can start with Jackie.
All right, Jackie, you're gonna have to hold it down, and you're gonna have to hold it down. So we'll go through a short game of Kahoot.
All right.
Not the Wi-Fi. All right, we're gonna get it started.
Yeah. So this is a true or false question. Credit and budgeting are major factors when buying a home. True or false? And then you'll be able to see that I'm also a podcaster. And Jackie answered very quickly since she's the only one.
All right, Jackie.
And she got that right. That is true. Yeah, and Jackie's in the lead.
All right.
All right, we'll go to the next one. This is just a poll. Do you budget and monitor your credit? So red is 50-50. Blue is no, I do not know how. Yellow is yes, I want a house badly. And green is sometimes, depending on my mood.
So what's your status? Does everybody know their credit score? Is everybody checking on it, seeing what's coming to your report?
Do you budget? Do you know your income? Do you know what your monthly expenses are? Those are two key factors into doing a budget. What's your relationship like with money? Do you have a good one? Do you have a negative one? Okay. Jackie said yes.
Okay, Jackie.
She wants a house badly. I love that. So for those who, budgeting and monitoring your credit is a part of the process of buying a home. Depending on the lender you're going to use, they're going to I won't even say depending on whatever lender you're going to use, they want to look at your credit history and they want to see that, one, you can afford a house, and two, are you proven credit worthiness to be able to show that you can borrow money and pay it back. So,
all right, let's go on to the next one.
What is the simple definition of a mortgage? Is it red, a charge on real personal property for the satisfaction of debt or duty? Blue, an agreement between you and a lender. Yellow, money received, especially on a regular basis for work or investment. And green is property consisting of land or buildings. And Jackie, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that'd have been blue, Jackie. An agreement between you and the lender is the simple definition of a mortgage, because it's essentially a loan, and they're going to pay for the house, and then you have an agreement between them to pay the house, to pay the loan off, the mortgage off, and then once you do that, the house is now yours and in your name. Well, it's in your name, but the house fully belongs to you with no debt attached to it.
Hey, everybody,
Is there anything you want to add in?
Nope, he got it.
Okay. What are the 3 credit bureaus?
Oh, I know.
And attention to detail is pivotal here. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax is red. TransUnion, Experian, Express, TransUnion, Equifax, or Equifax, Express, and Chase.
Any ideas? Anybody know what the 3 credit bureaus are? You can put it in the chat too if you're on live. What are the 3 credit bureaus? Okay.
Oh,
Jackie?
I don't think she answered this.
Oh, okay. Well, it's right. All right.
So red is Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. One of the things that you should know when you're dealing with a lender is each lender may have a different credit bureau that they actually use as for their credit score. So, for instance, one institution might use Experian as the score that reflects what your credit score is for them. TransUnion might be a none for another institution. So you really want to know when you choose your lender to who you're going to do a deal with. You want to ask them, hey, which of the credit bureaus do you guys look at as the credit score that you go by? Because if you all know, your credit score for each one of these credit bureaus could be, can vary and be different. So you want to go and really know, if you know your TransUnion is the higher of your three credit reports, you might want to look for a lender who's, specifically looks at TransUnion and goes by that number. Can help you in the long run.
And I would say, yeah, some lenders actually will use the middle one, the middle ground. So that's another reason why you should ask. So it might not just be one union that they prefer. It might be just the middle number. So that's something you want to talk to your financial institution about too, just to get a better understanding of how they're going to access your credit report, because you're going to get 3 different scores.
Correct. All right. Jackie.
Jackie's winning.
All right. What is a popular type of mortgage that offers a fixed interest rate for the entire loan term? So you have red, conventional, blue, a VA, yellow, FHA, or green, and ARM.
Okay, so what mortgage has a fixed loan? Does anybody know what mortgage has a fixed loan? Do you guys know the difference between conventional and FHA loans? Does anybody want me to explain that? Hey, Jordana, the difference between the conventional VA and FHA loans? Oh, well, I gave you the answer. All right, here we go.
No, Jackie picked it.
Oh, Jackie picked it? Okay.
No, but you can still explain.
And Jackie got it right. Okay. So the answer is conventional loans, red. So conventional loan is a type of mortgage that can offer you a fixed interest rate on your mortgage. And what that means is that your interest rate is going to stay the same throughout your term of your mortgage. But just because you have a fixed interest rate does not mean that your mortgage payment is going to stay the same, because there are other factors that go into your mortgage rate, like insurance and taxes. So those can go up, and then your mortgage will go up, but your interest rate will stay the same with a conventional mortgage.
Well said. And also, as a homeowner, I can attest to you that it will go up. So for those who are in home ownership programs and they don't typically cover that, I'll be the first to be transparent with you and honest with you. Right after your first year, you can look to see that your mortgage is probably going to go up based on taxes and insurance. So if you budget correctly, it shouldn't really throw you off. But if you think that your mortgage is going to stay the same the life of your term, I promise you that is very rare, if ever. All right, moving on. Jackie.
You're racking it up, Jackie.
All right. What person is not a part of the home buying process? Is it red, architect, blue, an appraiser, yellow, home inspector, green, a title agent? And again, attention to detail. Yes, go Jackie. Architect. Did you want to mention anything about any of the three?
Well, I'll just kind of do a quick rundown, because the appraiser, that's the person who's going to come to your house from the bank. The bank's going to send them out to the house to give the value of the house, or what they think that the house is worth. And then that amount is what the bank is going to lend you. So if the appraiser says that your house is not worth what you put in an offer on, you got some work to do to come up with that, because the bank is only going to give you the amount that the appraiser puts on the house. Home inspector, I always recommend that you get a home inspection, unless you're a contractor, you have history and you know what you're doing. But if you are a first-time home buyer, definitely get a home inspection. Their job is to look for the house, look at the house, and see the wear and tear on things, and if there's anything that you should know. That's what your home inspector's job is, to go over the house and check for things that you definitely want to pay attention to. And then your title agent is a person who gets you to closing. So they're making sure that there's no liens on the house when you buy it. You're not getting hit with the sewer bill from 20 years ago. That's what the title agent is for, and to get you to closing. So that's just a little rundown of the three people, if you're not familiar with the terms.
And also, from a banking perspective or lender perspective, the appraisal will typically be covered by the institution, as long as you don't combat them on what the appraisal came back as. So say you did interior or marble floors in your house, and you did a ton, and it doesn't account for that in your appraisal, then you would, from a lender standpoint, you would have to pay for a full appraisal, and that can run you about $500. Every institution is different, but again, for the most part, the appraisal is just covering the value of your home based on things like Zillow, other properties around the area. But if you really want to you feel like you put a lot of work in your house and it doesn't come back to what you thought it should appraise for, you'll typically be paying out of pocket for that appraisal in order to get it, to get another appraisal done. So And I think that's it.
All right, next.
You got it. Okay.
Okay. As y'all can see, Jackie's doing his thing.
What is earnest money?
Earnest money. Does anybody know what earnest money is? Have you heard that term before? There's like 3 different names for this term. So earnest money is one of them, but this is the one that they use on contracts, so you should be familiar with it.
Yes. Red, down payment. Blue, payment for home appraisal. Yellow, deposit made to show good faith in home purchase. And green, monthly mortgage payments.
What is the earnest money? Does anybody know? You can put it in the chat. Okay. What's the minimum credit score needed for FHA refinancing, etc.? Good question, Jordana. The lenders I work with have said 620 to start, but I think there are lenders that can work with lower. It just depends on the type of loan that you're trying to get and what lender that you're working with. But 620 is a pretty standard number that you want to be at before you go applying for loans. There are some scenarios where they want you to be higher and that you might be able to be lower. But I would say to stay safe, be at a 620. But you can definitely call ahead of time if that's something that you're interested in learning if you're not quite there.
Yeah, it's all about relationships.
Yep.
So mostly if you have a credit union or a bank that you're working with, that's where the relationship comes into play, because you should be able to ask all these different lending criteria and questions before you even submit your loan application. And if you have a good banker, they should be able to be transparent with you and let you know all the guidelines, and they should be able to give you a good sense of where your credit score should be. They will never really know your credit score until they actually do an application, but they can give you an idea of what you want to be. And if I'm being completely transparent with y'all, it's hard pressed to think of a lender that is taking anybody with less than 600. But 620 is that safe benchmark, because once they actually pull your credit, anytime your credit is being pulled, there's a chance that it'll go down. So they give you 620, so you have that buffer. And say if you're right at 600, they run it, now you drop. So now you're below 600. So you really want to ask a ton of questions and really have a relationship with whoever you're going to do your loan with and whoever's going to be your lender, because then that makes the process so much easier.
All right, we'll go on to, we got the answer.
Yeah, it's okay. Deposit made to show good faith that you're going to purchase the home. Is all
right, yeah, we got a little bit off topic there. Okay, so earnest money. So he told you what it was. Another name for earnest money is hand money, and usually this amount of money is supposed to be put down like 5 days after you get your signed contract. So whenever you come to an agreement, the seller agrees to sell you the house, and then you agree to purchase the house, and it's signed, then you need to have that hand money into your real estate agent or whoever you're using as soon as possible, so you can have that earnest money down. That's your good faith money.
Correct. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm gonna just hit the space bar.
Oh, Mom.
Okay.
Mom's here.
Okay. What is an appraisal? And we kind of already covered this.
Oh yeah, we jumped the gun. What's an appraisal? Or we'll let y'all should get this one.
Yeah.
Okay, your options are, what is an appraisal? A rental agreement, a home maintenance agreement, a savings account, or the estimation of a property's value by a professional. And we just talked about this, so I need to know if y'all are with me.
Right.
Anybody in the chat? All right, I'll give y'all a few seconds. What is an appraisal? Okay.
All right, Ms. Jackie. Yes. And I think we already covered appraisal, so I can't really think of anything else that we didn't cover with that.
So you're on it.
Yeah. What is a down payment? So a down payment, a payment made to a real estate agent, a payment made at the beginning of the loan, yellow, a final payment on a mortgage, and green, the monthly payment on a mortgage. Okay, we got 2, and they got the payment made at the beginning of the loan. And that is correct. Anything about down payment?
Exactly. So that down payment is made at closing. So the day that you get your keys to the house is the day that you will make that down payment. You'll bring a check to closing, and then that's how you will get the keys to the house in exchange for that down payment. That's how that works. That's when you have to have it. And then your lender and your title company will have 3 days before closing to nail down those numbers, so you know exactly how much money you need to bring to closing for your down payment.
Yes, and also you want to, when you are from a lender perspective, you really, and again, you'll notice the theme of my when I talk is about relationships. The easier you have a relationship with your realtor, your lender, and everyone involved in the whole home buying process, is that's what makes the home buying process so much easier. If you have a relationship with them and they're able to educate you through everything through the entire process. So with that being said, your lender, if they're offering any type of closing costs or down payment assistance, it's definitely great to take advantage of that. However, there are outside organizations. I am going to shout one out. That's cool because I love them. Catapult Greater Pittsburgh.
All right, me
If
too.
you
Shout out to Catapult.
okay,
Okay.
yeah. I didn't know if we were name dropping.
No, we're good. Catapult's good.
They are the one of many that have home buying assistance that you can add on to whoever your other lender is, if your lender allows you to have additional down payment and closing costs assistance added on. So you really want to do your due diligence when you're working with any of these financial institutions, because that may make the difference of if you got to come out of pocket at all. As someone who recently bought my home, I was given all my down payment money. I didn't come out of pocket for a thing. And so that makes a huge difference when you start to look at who you want to borrow, get your house from, because if you don't do your due diligence and you just go with the first person that you bank with and who you didn't shop around, you have no options. You're going with what they told you, and that's pretty all you got to do. So
yeah, and I'll just tap in because, like he said, all lenders are not created equally. So definitely shop around. Not everybody has the same access to the same programs. So definitely see what programs are available. There are a lot of grant programs available for down payment assistance, especially in the city of Pittsburgh. I will notate that. Keep that in mind. So so make sure you're looking for all of that before you're just committing to any type of lender, because there is money out there and you want to use it.
And last thing, she probably won't say this, but a great real estate agent has all the connects, and then that limits your search, because now you could just talk to your realtor and they already know about all the programs that are out there. So FYI. Oh, okay. What is a fixed rate mortgage? And red is a mortgage with a variable interest rate. Blue is a mortgage with an adjustable interest rate. Yellow is a mortgage with a set interest rate for the entire loan term. And green is yes. Okay. And two people got that right. And it is a mortgage with a set interest rate for the entire loan term.
Okay, we kind of touched on that.
Oh, did you have anything about?
Nah, I kind of touched on that earlier.
Yeah.
So we can go on to the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh, this is a good one. What is mortgage insurance? Red, insurance to protect the lender in case of default. Blue, insurance for the property itself. Yellow, insurance to protect the borrower in case of default. Insurance against natural disasters. What is mortgage insurance?
Anybody have mortgage insurance? Anybody familiar with that? Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Jordana. Okay, mortgage insurance. All right. The answer is insurance to protect the borrower in case of default. That's who needs protection, the borrower.
Anything you want to add to insurance?
Nope.
One thing I will add is you can always shop around for your insurance as well. Same you would as for auto insurance and any other life insurance, auto. Anything with the word insurance, you can shop around to look for cheaper rates and prices and things of that. But a lot of times people are just comfortable with what they have, and it's too much effort and energy to look for different companies and get all these different quotes and things of that nature. So most people just go the life of whatever they had. But I know for me, every year I at least shop around or I look for promotions or offers, so that way I'm cutting some costs. Especially when I talked about, taxes and insurance will go up on your house at some point in time. Why not, mitigate that impact if you're shopping around and, switching who you have your insurance with. And I'll be transparent with you guys again. We, especially in the Black community, we tend to have a blind loyalty to things. We don't want to,
that is true.
To use an example, whoever you opened your bank account with, I heard many people say, well, my mom and dad had them for 60 years, so I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that, but they don't look at nostalgia that way. They don't just because your mom and banked there for 30 years doesn't mean that's going to translate to any real benefits to you. I'm a firm believer you should have multiple relationships, And whenever I look at relationships like I do dating, you don't fall in love with the very first person you met when you were 16, correct? You date and you know intertwine with other people. So that's the same process you should have with who your financial institution is going to be with. Because if you do a 30-year mortgage, the house is probably the biggest purchase you're going to ever make in your life. And I've known people who've been divorced and still got that same mortgage. So it's a level of commitment that you have to consider and make sure you're doing your due diligence and not rushing just because you want that instant gratification. I want to be a homeowner today. That's all fine and great, but you want to make sure that you do your due diligence and make the proper decision. So, that's all I have to say.
All right. We are moving on up. We're moving up.
All right. What is title insurance? Insurance protecting the buyer's home ownership rights. Blue, real estate agent's commission payment. Yellow, payment for home inspection. Or green, homeowner's insurance. What is title insurance?
All right.
Great job. Insurance protecting the buyer's ownership, protecting the buyer's ownership rights.
And this is when we talked about liens. So if there are any liens, so sometimes the seller might not even know that a contractor can put a lien on a house. And then that's something that if you buy it, you're responsible for liens that are on the house. So the title company's job is to search for all of that before closing. And then title insurance protects you from any old debts that you had on the house prior to you purchasing it, so that you're not responsible for that. So that's why title insurance is important to have.
Absolutely. All right. All right, we got two more questions. What is a fee paid to a lender for processing a loan application? Is it homeowners association fee, escrow fee, origination fee, or appraisal fee?
So the fee paid to a lender for processing a loan application, so just for processing it. And it is...
Oh, we had a split decision here.
Oh.
Someone said escrow fee, and the other got it right with origination fee. Any thoughts on?
Nope. So it is the origination fee. So when you get your at closing, you'll get a cost sheet breakdown, and you will see that origination fee on there. So now you know what that is whenever you get to closing.
Yes, and a lot of why you see a lot of these type of questions, because sometimes in home ownership workshops, these are things they don't cover. Mm-hmm. You learn this as you end up going through the process, but why not know it ahead of time so that way you're better prepared? Because sometimes when you deal with these HUD affiliated organizations, they only have so much information that they can actually give you. And sometimes they don't cover all the little hidden fees and other things that go along with buying a home. So I just figured, let's be transparent here and make sure we're talking about things that aren't commonly talked about. So that's why that question is in there.
Okay, we're moving on up.
Oh, this is a good one.
Says the man who wrote the questions.
What is financial literacy? Red, understanding of money. Blue, investing in stocks. Yellow, yes.
Everybody.
We got a split decision. Managing finances. Well,
okay.
Actually, it's probably word that, because I would say yellow is good too. So apologies for that, but yes,
a win-win.
For the simple definition is understanding of money and options and concepts and strategies of what you can do with your money. Why that question is in there, for those who don't know, I'm a podcaster. I do a podcast called Financial Literacy with TC, and it's about having Black representation in the financial space. Because sometimes if you ever Google financial literacy, you see so many of these gurus who don't look like minorities, and I'm gonna keep it PC, and they're telling people what to do with their money. However, there's certain factors in history that they don't consider or bring up when they're talking and trying to tell people what to do with their money. So I created a platform where I invite minorities on, people, business owners, CEOs, executive directors, people who are successful or experts in their field. I have them come on the podcast. I'm gonna have Jayla on, and really just give their insight to try to help keep the knowledge and education within our community, because we have a lot of different factors that I can say a lot of other for lack of a better word, minorities or other people don't have to face. So with all that being said, it's really important that we take our financial literacy very seriously. So hence, that's why that question's on there. Anything to add?
Okay. Covered it. All right. Good job on that one. All right. Last one.
Oh.
And this is a true or false, right?
Yeah. Financial literacy with TC is about Black representation when it comes to talking finances. And in the background, you'll see a little episode of me and Dave McGowan, who Jayla knows very well. He's a mortgage rep for S&T. And both our participants got that right. So I appreciate that. All right. And we're going to look at our podium. Mom came in third.
Shout out to Mom. Mom again, second.
And Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie started from the beginning. So shout out to Jackie.
Yep. So that was fun.
All right. A little warm up, get you guys started.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
And then I'll go ahead and so this is, I'll jump in and we're just going to tag team this together. You can see. All right. So this is a start. So now we're kind of going to jump into a general overview of credit, budgeting, and home ownership. Just a quick rundown so you guys can get familiar with some terms and some language of what credit and budgeting is. So these are a few things that you can expect to learn today. So we'll be talking about budgeting, like I said, debt management. So how do you manage your debt? The power of credit, what it does when you have good credit. Why is it important to have good credit? Since we hear people talking about it all the time, but what does it actually do for you? And then saving and investing, how to keep that realistic with everybody's personal goals. And then the home buying process. Since I'm a real estate agent, I will be going over that. Okay. So there are three things that I want you to consider. If you got the thought, hey, I want to buy a house, I think I'm ready. There are three things that you should be thinking about before you make any calls. Okay. Your credit score. What is your credit score? Because that's the first thing anybody's going to ask you when you're trying to get some money from them. Your lender institution, any type of lender you go to, they're going to want to know what your credit score is. So if you have an idea of what that is already, it helps. And also your debt, because debt goes to credit. Go ahead.
And as a lender, if I can
chime on in.
Please don't take yourself out of the game by thinking you need a 700 or 750 credit score to apply for a house. If they wanted people with perfect credit, they'd be very far few between of us who would be able to buy a house. It's not about having 700, 800 credit score to get a house. It's about just having a credit score that's sufficient enough to be able to show that you're credit worthy. So you're not. I've seen so many people take themselves out of the game by thinking, oh, I'm not ready. Meanwhile, they got a 680 credit score and they can go to pretty much any lender and borrow. So please don't do that.
So keep that in mind. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And then your savings. Savings is important to have, not only for your down payment, like we talked about, but also for repairs, because once you purchase a house, you are a homeowner. There's no landlord to call if something goes wrong. Things go wrong. I can probably guarantee that if you purchase a house, something is going to need fixed. And you want to be prepared for that. So that's why we also recommend that you work with lenders that can get you the lowest down payment so that you can keep your savings for times when you really need them to put into your investment. Because even though it can be a bill to own a house, it's also a vehicle for you to get money back out of it. So you're investing in yourself and you're investing in your house. So saving is important to have. You want to say something?
And this is why it's huge to be able to pretty much find an organization or institution that will cover all your down payment and closing costs. Because if you go to closing and don't have to come out of pocket, like Jayla was saying, that helps you have a better, keep all your money that you already saved up and keep it for if something does go wrong. But if you have to come out of pocket for all your closing costs and down payment, you've pretty much just lost because, you're putting yourself at zero and now you have to build it back up. So something to think about.
And there is a term for that. We call that house rich, cash poor.
Yes.
And we do not want that to happen. I do not recommend that. So that's why when I work with my clients, I make sure that you're getting into something affordable, but you still have that nest egg so that you can fall back on if need be.
Yep. Oh, I'm done.
All right. Okay. And then your work history. So that is something that you're going to need to have. So most lenders I work with, they want you to have 2 years of work history. And that does not have to be consistent. So if you had to take a break, maybe you were off for a year, as long as you have 2 years of work history somewhere, they'll be able to work with you on that. So, but they're going to want to have you're going to have some sort of income in order to purchase a house. That is something that they're going to ask about too, and that does go into what you're approved for.
And also, you want to be very transparent with your lender. Pretty much within your first meeting, if you bring your W-2s and your most recent pay stubs, and they can look at your gross income and be able to tell you on a yearly basis if you make enough, based on if you meet the medium threshold for what a house costs in this day and age. They should be able to let you know, hey, you know what? You might want to get a part-time job, or you might want to get something else because your income doesn't quite hit where you need to be able to afford a house. Because what's the point of getting a house and you can't afford to still live a good quality of life, but you have a house? So you really just want to make sure that your income is at a good medium income. Recommendation wise, I say I at least like for people to be north of $30,000 a year. I'm not saying that's the actual medium income number, but I say for you to get, and then you have to be realistic about what type of house you can get based on the income you make. If you're not getting a $200,000-$300,000 house if you don't have a nice income. So not to say, I'm gonna just be real with y'all. You need to understand that the level of income you make is gonna play a huge factor on what type of house you can afford.
And just on that note, that is a lot of reason why real estate agents will not take you out to look at houses until you are pre-approved, until you know what is your house that you can afford. Because I don't want you looking at $200,000 houses and now we get $100,000 pre-approval and your expectations are set up high, and then everything in your bracket is not what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely good to start with what you know you can afford and then look in that bracket versus just trying to find the house that you like the most.
And then one last thing, I'm sorry. So when you get your pre-approval, you still do. That's why they make you budget, or why it's a good thing to budget before you even go on your home buying journey. Because if you use that full 100,000 for whatever your home you're going to purchase, that's not even including utilities. That's not including all the other things in your life, your children, your husband. That's not including any of that. So you want to make sure that if you buy a house, make sure you can actually afford to the house, and then other things in life that you're going to have to take care of as well, student debt, all that other stuff. So that's why budgeting is so pivotal, because there's no point of you getting a house that you can afford, maxing that thing out, and now you're penny pitching and scraping to take care of all the other obligations you have.
All right. And then this is just kind of a rundown of credit scores. So very bad. That's not nice to say. But hey, if you're with 300, there's work that you can do. There's just room for improvement. Okay, we're not going to say that's very bad. It's going to say there's very much a lot of room for improvement. All right. And there are programs that'll help you with credit counseling that are free. That's another thing that you can reach out to your real estate agent, like myself. I have access to programs like that where you can sit down with someone, get a copy of your credit report, and go over what you can do to get that done. So even if your credit score is not where you want it to be, that doesn't mean that, we can't figure out a plan to get you there. It's all about finding the right plan for you. So this is just an overview. Of course, 800 to 850 would be an excellent credit score. 750 to 799 is very good, and then 700 to 740, that's good credit for sure, and then 650 to 699 is fair. I would consider that a little bit above fair. That's good credit too to me. I'm not a bank, but if you got that, you're good. And then 600 to 649, they have it written, I would say that's like you got room for improvement. I would give that like maybe a C. You're passing. You're still passing. You can still might get a loan, but you're not a B or A. You're not on the honor roll, but you're passing the class. That's what that bracket means to me, 600 to 649.
So from a lending perspective, this is where your credit score is mainly to dictate what rate you're going to be at. So when we talk about where mortgage rates are and things of that nature, the better the score, the better rate you get. It's that simple. And then there's a drop off. So each institution has a range that they look at that dictates what your credit score is going to be. Again, can't give you a specific interest rate, but right now, the better your credit score is, the better interest rate you get. So that's why it's a factor. But it's not the end all be all, because credit fluctuates. So when you buy your house, because you're assuming that your credit score is going to drop anyway, you just want to be in a nice space to where you can get a mortgage and still be at a decent rate, be at a decent interest rate. Sometimes I see people who are so consumed by the interest rate that, again, they take themselves out of the game. The interest rate is not the end all be all, because for those who don't know, you can always refinance the deal and get a different interest rate when and if your credit score improves. So it's really it's not as big a deal as some people like to make you believe.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're just going to go brief overview: credit report versus credit score. So your credit report, does everybody know that you can get a free credit report once a year? This is a government-backed website. It is called www.annualcreditreport.com. So once a year, you can pull your credit report and it'll show you your report from all three bureaus, so you can go over and see actually what's on your credit. Your credit score is a number. That's what we just talked about. Is it a 650? Is 700? So that's a number. And then your report goes over all of the debts that you might have, your credit cards, your loans, your mortgages, all of that is going to be on your report. So that's just a kind of summary of the difference between those two things.
Yes, and studying the lenders again will help you, because if you look, and again, I'll throw this out there: Credit Karma. It is not the end all be all. It is just to give you an idea of where your credit score is. So when you go on there and you see your Experian is 720, but your TransUnion is 690. Again, you want to look at the median, and then you also want to know what lender you're going to go with and ask them which one do they favor the most, because it doesn't matter if your Experian is 720, but the lender you chose to do your deal with is using TransUnion. That's primarily what they're looking at, and that's the report they get. So that's what they're going with. So you really want to know what your borrower is looking at from that standpoint, so that way now going in, you have the best chance to get the best interest rate and the best deal because you've gone with your best score, if that makes sense.
Yep. And then I'll just add in one more thing. So where is the most accurate place to find your credit report? A lot of people ask me that. And I've heard not good things about Credit Karma since we mentioned it. A lot of people I work with who get their scores off of Credit Karma, when they go to actually get it checked, they're like, oh no, those numbers are a little bit off. Like you said, it is an estimate. So it's not the end all be all with Credit Karma. I do recommend, so if you have a financial institution like PNC, they'll show you your FICO score. If you have a credit card, they'll show you your FICO score. So go through them, and then also Experian. So your Credit Karma might not be as accurate, but there are other ways to check your actual credit score to get a more accurate number. Just my experience. So that's that.
And one last thing, pay attention to range. There's not a huge difference between 700 and 705, 710. You're still in a good range. It's the range you should care about, not the specific score. Now, if you dip below, you say you're 701 and you dip below 700, now you should have a little concern, because that takes you out of, all institutions have a range that their interest rates line up with. It's not, oh, this score equates to this interest rate. There's a range you want to look at. So that's what you want to pay most attention to.
All right, so this is just a breakdown of how your credit is split up. So how do these TransUnion, Experian, how do they judge your credit? So what are they basing you on a scale of? So this breaks down kind of like a pie chart, nice little pie chart here, and it'll go over. So I'll go over this quickly. So new credit, that is 10% of your credit score. So if you're getting a new credit card, a new loan, a new car, a new house, that's going to affect your score, 10% of it. That's where that's portioned to. And then another 10% one is credit uses. So are you mixing your credit? Do you have just 10 credit cards and nothing else? Or do you have a loan? Do you have student loans? Do you have a mortgage and a car note, and it's diversified? That is better than just having 10 credit cards of one kind of credit. So mixing that up helps your credit score, and that affects that 10% as well. And then the length of your credit is another determining factor. So how long you've had your credit. So if you've had your credit, you haven't had credit for a long time, that can hinder you. And then if you have accounts and maybe you're thinking about closing an account, but you had this one account for 10 years, you probably don't want to close that if that's your longest credit account, because that affects it. And then now your credit history goes down because that's a part of that time, that length of credit that you've had. And then the biggest factors, okay, the biggest two factors are your payment history, making your payments on time.
Yep.
And we're going to go into what you need to be paying, because not everything goes to your credit report. So when they're talking about your payment history, you want to prioritize paying things that hit your credit report. And I'm going to emphasize that a little later. But 35%, the biggest chunk of your credit, is coming from you making those payments on time. Okay. And then lastly,
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. One late payment, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, is pretty bad. It hits it really hard because it takes so much for you to be able to, repair that. So that's why it's so
years even.
That's why it's so imperative to not let it happen at all. And then also, if you pay attention to the pie chart, I know so many people who've had, oh, my credit score is 700, 790, but they don't have any history to go along with that. You haven't had at least 2 years worth of credit history. So in that case, if you have a good credit score but you don't have a substantial amount of history to go with it, I would recommend you getting some type of secure card, so that way you can start to establish your credit history. And they do report those to the credit bureaus a little bit more frequently than some of your standard credit cards would.
All right, thank you. And then the last piece of the pie, 30% is your amount owed, so your debt. So if you have credit cards with a $10,000 limit, and then you have 9,000 of that maxed out, that's where that goes. So your amount owed, how much debt you're in, that plays a big role in your credit report. All right, and we'll go on. So since we're talking about credit and what you need to do, I'll give you some tips to improve your credit. So here are 8 tips to improve your credit, and I'll go over them with you. So first things first, I already talked about this. Get a copy of your credit report, because you cannot improve your credit if you don't know what's on your credit report. And knowing what's on your credit is key to being able to keep track of it efficiently. 2, report any errors. If they have the wrong person, if they have the wrong address, sometimes things will come up on your credit report that you didn't even do. Somebody got a water bill in your name back when you was 12. That's on your credit report. You need to know that. You need to see that and get that off of there. That's an error. You won't be responsible for that. So making sure that you're actually looking through your report, and any charges, any debt that they're saying that you owe, make sure you actually owe that debt, and you're not just letting it sit on your report and it's not your responsibility. And 3, let's talk about paying your bills on time, which we already did. Pay your bills on time. If you can, you need to pay your bills on time. And the ones, like I said, the ones that go to your credit, there are some bills that don't go to your credit. And those are the ones you might say, okay, you got to catch me next month. And that's okay, because you know it's not going to go on your credit. But if you know this is going to go on your credit card, your mortgage, your car loans, you need to be paying that every month. Do what you got to do to pay, okay? And then the next one would be to make frequent payments. So there are ways to where you can make an additional payment in the month in order to bring down that credit, and it'll report better if you do make additional payments. So that's another option you can take.
And I said one last thing to add. Another reason why you should check your credit report frequently, if not minimum once a year, is because cybercrime is very real. So there are literally people who are sitting at a computer, and all they're doing is finding ways to get your information and be able to put stuff and use your social security, etc. So how can you catch it if you're not checking your things? You can't rely on a financial institution to do it for you. You can't rely on anyone else. You can't rely on, you have to be doing your due diligence. And the faster you catch it is the safer you are. If a whole year goes past and somebody's been using your information and you just found out, it's very unlikely that anything will, and these people aren't easy to catch. So I say all that to say, you should be checking all your financial accounts, everything. You really need to do your due diligence, because the quicker you catch something, the better off you be. The longer it lapses, it's harder, if damn near impossible, to fix it. So
all right, thank you. And then the next tip will be ask for a higher limit. If you have a credit card, I think you can request an increase every 6 months, if not sooner, depending on your institute. And anytime you have the ability to request an increase in credit, you should. That does not mean that you use it. Okay, let me clarify this. Just because you're getting more money, just because you're getting more credit, now your balance is 15,000. You think you can swipe? No, you just have that to have it. So you have the access to it. You want to keep it under 30% regardless. But definitely ask for increases because that helps your credit, like we talked about.
And honestly, if you're trying to build credit, I would say keep it below 10 utilization.
Okay, 10% utilization. All right, he said 30%. That's a little bit too big of a window. Keep it below 10 if you really about your business.
Yeah.
Okay. And then keep your credit cards open. I don't think there's any situation to where you should say, okay, I just want to close this. Like, oh, I got this credit card, I'm not losing it. Let me close this account. That doesn't really help. So if you can keep it open or even just make a small purchase because you got it, pay it off monthly, I think that would be the best situation to be in versus just saying you don't want your Macy's card anymore so they can just close your account, because that's going to affect you negatively. It's not like you're just walking away and it could be a nice breakup. No, they're going to put that on your report as a closed account and you're going to have to see that.
If you shred that card and then get rid of paper bill statements, I promise you'll forget you even got it. Like, that's what I do. They'll email me a bill if I do get a bill. I've got a Victoria's Secret card that I've, rarely touch.
Same.
And I destroyed the card in e-statement. So if I do use it, that's how I get notified. They don't send me no bill.
Yep, but keep it on deck, even if you're not using it. And then mix it up. We talked about this. Mix it up, okay? So you don't want to have just 10 credit cards. You want to mix it up. Get a financial loan for a car. Have a mortgage loan, your student loans. You want to diversify your credit portfolio so it shows, that you're responsible with different aspects in your life.
Absolutely.
Oh. And then this is just an example. So a person with a 760 plus credit score, they would get a 4.17% interest rate, okay? And then their monthly payment would be $1,462 versus a person with a 620 credit score who would have a 5.76% interest rate, and then their payment will be $1,753. So you're thinking, oh, that's just a $300 different monthly. I can handle that. You got the cash. You can make it work. After in 30 years, but if you think about it over the lifetime of your 30-year loan, you're now paying over $100,000 more than the person who had the 760 credit score and got the 4.17 interest rate because you wanted to get it at 620 at the 5.76. So keep that in mind. That's when we talked about the brackets, the ranges, where you're at. Okay, so maybe sometimes it might be helpful to wait. If you're a 639, wait to get to your 640 so you can get that lower interest rate if you're able to move brackets. But if you're in the same bracket, then okay, get it how it is. But keep that in mind as well, because it does affect you in the long run.
And honestly, let's be honest, these rates ain't even what rates are today on cars. And this is where you need to do your due diligence if it's specifically about an auto loan. Sometimes your dealer's rate is better than the financial institution that they're going to outsource you to. Or sometimes it's better to use a credit union. Or sometimes it's better just to do your own homework and do your due diligence and even probably going with a pre-approved auto loan payment. So that way, you've already taken some of the guesswork about what your interest rate is going to look like. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but it's really about understanding who your lender is going to be. Make sure you're reading the fine print and make sure you know exactly what you're signing on for before you just do it.
Exactly. All right, so let's jump into it. Prioritizing your expenses. So we all got bills to pay. Okay, we're grown, and there's a lot of bills to have to be responsible for in the aspect of our lives. So we have to pay mortgages, auto loans, personal loans, credit cards, rent, utilities, student loans, and even medical bill debt. So all of these bills coming at you saying they want paid. How do you know which bill you're supposed to pay first? How do you know what to prioritize? Where do you give your money to if this is all you got and it's either Peter or Paul? Mm-hmm. All right, this is how this will. So we'll break that down for you and kind of make it easier for you to commit. So mortgages and auto loans. I know my mom told me you need a roof over your head and you need a car to get to work. Okay, so I personally prioritize those. And then with mortgages, I would say taxes because You don't want to do all that work to buy a house and then the sheriff come take that off of you. So your mortgages are important to pay off, and those report to your credit. And mortgage versus rent. Not all rent reports to your credit. So that's two different conversations we're having. If your rent, your landlord's not reporting to your credit, and he can say, okay, you can wait till the 5th or the 15th to pay that, but you got credit card bills that will report to your credit card, pay them credit card bills and tell your landlord you're going to have to get him on the 15th if he's not reporting it to your credit. Nowadays, these landlords, they're on it. So some landlords are, and that's something that you want to know. Are your rent payments being reported to your credit? Because it can be a good thing if it is, if you're paying it on time, and then now you got an extra little something on there, diversifying, mixing it up. But if you're not paying your rent on time, then that's something you're going to want to prioritize. But if it's not going to your credit, pay what's going to your credit first. Pay those credit card bills, pay your car note, those type of things. Utility bills do not go to your credit unless they do. But from my experience, they don't go in your credit. So if you have to prioritize those lower, then that's what you need to do. And then medical bill debt. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. So normally with your mortgage and auto loans, you get a 10 to 15 day grace anyway. So if a credit card is going to really, and credit cards, you barely ever get a grace period. It depends on the credit card.
Yeah, but don't depend on that.
But don't on that. So I would say, knowing that an auto loan and a mortgage, you get at least 10 to 15 day grace before you see any late payment. I would probably bump credit cards up to make sure that's what you paid. You don't miss a date.
Credit cards are at the top. I agree.
So just
we're bumping it up. We're bumping it up. Credit cards first. Boom. Pay them credit cards because they're not giving you no grace. They're not giving you no 5-day window. None of that. They want their money and they want it now. So pay them, people. And the interest rates are usually a lot higher than your other loans. So you really want to pay them, people.
She being kind. It ain't usually. It's almost. I would say 98% of certainty.
For surely, you're going to be paying higher interest. So paying them first helps you, not only in that instance, but in the long run, because you're paying down that debt. So that's just kind of overview. Anybody got any questions on what you should pay? Any other bills that you think, like, oh, what about this? What about this bill you want to pay? No, nails in here. We're not including that.
I don't know. Some people put that in the needs category.
We consider that luxury, but hey, it's your life. It's your world. We just living in it. And then we'll talk about debt management. I'm going to skip this one. So there are some different strategies to paying off your debt. So if you have debt, you are not stuck. So two methods that I'm familiar with are the snowball and the avalanche. So the snowball method is when you take your lowest credit card bill. So if you got two credit cards, one's $1,000, one's $10,000, you're going to start with that $1,000 one. Start paying that off slowly so that you can see it done. And then now, okay, boom, you can breathe. Your balance is down, and now you can focus on the big boy. Avalanche is the opposite. Go straight for the heavy hitter. The whatever account has the highest interest and the highest balance, that's where you want to focus on paying. I don't care if you feel like, oh, I will never be able to pay this down. That's the one you need to start with if you're using the avalanche approach. Either method is okay. It's whatever works for you. But I'm going to be honest with you, the avalanche method is going to make your debt go down faster in the long run because you're knocking out that high interest, you're knocking out that high balance versus being able to have little victories. Okay, you got your $100 card paid off, you got your $200, but we're just going to pay the minimum on the $5,000 one. That is an approach. I don't know if it's the best approach, but the best approach is whatever approach works for you. Okay.
And also, either one of these methods is damn near impossible to do if you don't budget. How can you pick an approach if you don't know what your income is and all your expenses and where you can allocate funds to? So budgeting is pivotal for either strategy, but that has to be the first thing you do. You can't implement a strategy if you don't know what the equation is to get it to where it needs to be. So
your income and your expenses and whatever you have left over. Okay, so this is kind of just an overview of what a budget should look like. And I was going to show y'all my monthly budgets because mine is a little in depth. I'm an Excel kind of girl. Yeah. But I'm going to give you this basic one for now. But if anybody wants to see my spreadsheet, I got you. I'll send that to you. But these are just some of your necessities. So your rent, your gas, your utilities, your phone, car, gas for your car, groceries, household items. These are necessities, things that you need to allocate funds for whenever you're being paid so that you can take care of. And then now we're going to go over luxury expenses. And I know sometimes these don't feel like luxuries. These feel like necessities. But we're going to have to call them what they are today. And these are luxury expenses. So your streaming services, your Hulu, your Netflix, eating out. Yeah, I'm guilty. I'm not here to judge because I eat out often, okay? But I calculate how much money I'm spending on eating out and I make sure that I put it in my budget. Even clothes, if you smoke, if you want to go to the movies, vacation, hobbies, your pets, and don't get at me, the animal lovers. Pets are luxuries. So the money for the food, all that you're spending on, that's a luxury. So sometimes when you are looking at your bills and your budget and your tracking, you can put these at on whatever level you would like. It's your life, but figuring out things that you can cut out versus things that you cannot. So, anything, Tom?
Yeah, I would even take it a step further. If you are really serious about your budget, you would factor in things that I know many in society don't, which is birthdays, holidays, your kids' picture days at school, all these extra little expenses that you know come up. Like every time your kid starts a new grade, you have to go school shopping. You have to go, you have to account for all their activities. So if you really taking budgeting seriously, you would equate for all that. How many of you guys have family that every family member's birthday that comes up, no matter what month, you're giving them $50 here, $30 here, but I promise you, you're not accounting for that. So if you're really serious about budgeting, yeah, the luxury and the needs are essential, but even those miscellaneous expenses that you don't account for, those add up at the end of the year. So really having multiple tools and multiple methods can help you a long way, because if you track every single dollar or debit card transaction that comes out of any income you've made, now you're really winning because you have a more accurate budget that allows you to see where all your funds is. I don't care if it's a quarter you found on a random Sunday and put that in your pocket. You're up a quarter. But then if you go spending back some gum, that needs to be in your budget. But again, I digress. It's your life, yeah. And you choose how seriously you want to take it.
Okay, all right. We're just here to tell you. Just here to tell you. Okay, so like he said, look, budgeting. You want to budget. Step one, you need to calculate your income. Income could be a plethora of things. Where you work, if you Uber on the side, if you get any alimony, child support, that's all income. So you can add all of that up together to see what you're making monthly and start there. Start figuring out what you're getting in. Mm-hmm. Step two is when you start calculating those expenses. Okay, like you said, we need a breakdown. What are you spending money on? What are your necessities? What are the things that are luxuries but you're not giving up? Okay, so they're going to have to go in that budget.
Or those church contributions and those GoFundMe's you be putting into. That's another expense.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Tithes.
Obviously, it's a great and wonderful gesture, but it's money you done lost.
Okay. Yes, and that is an expense.
Writing it off on your taxes.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And then knowing that too, what you can write off. But we ain't gonna talk about that today. Right, that's a little bonus. Yeah. If y'all want to know more about what y'all can write off, you let me know. You can book. I'll make a class for that too. Right. But right now we're talking about budgeting and credit. Okay. Okay. And then develop a spending plan. So that's when you have your spreadsheet, your beautiful spreadsheet, where you go over what are you going to spend your money on all month. So what are you going to pay towards bills? What are you going to allocate for your fun time? What you need for yourself to feel good about yourself? Because that's important too. As long as you put it in your budget, your spending plan, then you're good. I'm not mad at you. And then once you get that spending plan, once you get your spending plan, you need to start figuring out how you're going to minimize expenses. So distinguish what's a necessity and then what's not. And then also, you're going to go over and see if you can minimize those. So maybe you got Hulu, Netflix, you got Stars, but now power's off, so you don't need Stars no more. Cancel that subscription. Yep. Or if you only watch one series, maybe you don't need all of them. Get you a Fire Stick instead of cable. You know, there are ways around it. Start shopping at Aldi's instead of Walmart.
Have your cousin jailbreak that thing.
Okay, look, there are ways to get things done, and being resourceful about how you spend your money. And if there's ways where you can cut corners or cut any type of, then cut them. Okay, you got to be real serious about your expenses. Okay, and then This is just this. I'm gonna just touch
Oh,
on
we
this a
getting
little
in
bit.
depth. Yeah,
I'm gonna just touch on this
we
a little
getting
bit
real.
since we mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
A brief overview of net worth. Does everybody know what their net worth is? Does anybody know how to calculate their net worth? What is a net worth? When people say my net worth, what does that even mean? What is a net worth? Anybody got any intel on what that can mean? You can comment. Comment. All right, I'll give you a breakdown. Okay, so your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. Okay, so that sounds very simple. But and then you ask, what's an asset? Okay, and I'm going to tell you. So, an asset, these are things that you own that have value and can be converted to cash. Okay, that's an asset. Gold, your checkings account,
Your house.
Your house is an asset. Is your car an asset? Does anybody want to say is their car an asset? You just got the brand new 2024. Is that an asset? Anybody?
Heck no.
You're right. No, it's not. You cannot consider that an asset. That's actually in the other category that we're going to talk about. That is a liability. Okay? That's a liability. So liabilities these are obligations or debts that you owe others. So essentially your debt, what you owe. So that is a liability. Your car is a liability. That is not bringing you money unless you're using Toro to rent it out or something. It'll always be a depreciating asset. And as soon as you drive that thing off the lot, if you get the brand new thing, it's going down. It's not worth as much as opposed to a house where it goes up. Okay, appreciation.
Well, and then just to simplify, it'll never be worth what you paid it for, or it will never exceed the value of what you paid for it.
So that's why it is not an asset, because it goes down, the value will never go up. Okay, you're always going to take an L on a car just to get you around. So keep that in mind for all the people who like to ride in style. So the goal for your net worth is to maximize your assets. So purchase things that make you money, that have value, that you can eventually sell one day, or that can make you money while you own them. Those are assets. Those are what you need to maximize. And then you want to minimize your liabilities. So your debt, anything that you owe, you want to work on knocking that down so that you're not in debt. So that's how you increase your net worth. And if anybody wants a net worth calculator, I do have a spreadsheet with that as well. And I'll be more than happy to share.
Ooh, you are very
resourceful. I'm a spreadsheet girl, okay? All right, I got you.
Yes.
All right. I know it's 7 o'clock. Y'all tired? Okay, so I'm gonna just do a quick little home buyer process. I'm gonna just go over this slide for y'all. So we talked about what you need to do to get pre-approved. So now you got the pre-approval in your hand. The bank just gave you $200,000, okay? And they said, go ahead, go shopping. Go shopping. And that's when you call your real estate agent. Well, you should already be in contact with them, but you contact your real estate agent and you say, hey, I got this pre-approval. I'm ready to go. So from there, you get your pre-approval. You get to start searching for properties. So your real estate agent is going to send you properties that fit your criteria, and then they're going to set up times for you to go look at them, see them in person. They're going to give you their expertise. This is another reason why to have an experienced real estate agent on your hand. They're going to look at the house, look at the value, make sure that when you're putting in an offer, that it is for the value of the house, because not just because they're selling it for this price don't mean you got to buy it for this price, okay? Real estate is a negotiation business. So get a real estate agent to help you look at houses, that's for sure. And then once you find the house, so you're like, this is the one. I found my house. We done looked at these houses, and this is the one that I really, really want. You're going to write up an offer. So something in writing saying that you agree to purchase this house. Your real estate agent is going to write it up for you. You're going to sign off on it. And it'll just go over the terms of the agreement of purchase. And then you're going to send that to the seller, and the seller's going to have some time. They're going to look it over, and they're going to decide whether or not they want to accept your offer, because they don't have to accept your offer, but they'll have some time to do so. And they can also negotiate. They can counter back. You can offer 50. They say, no, we want 60. So be prepared for that conversation too. If you are looking for houses and putting in offers, everything's negotiable, like I said. So you put the offer, y'all come to a conclusion. You're like, okay, yes, we agree on this price. Let's do it. I want to buy it. You want to sell it. Let's make it happen. Now your offer is signed and you're ready to go. Once you get that signed sales agreement, your first thing you're going to want to do is schedule those inspections, okay? You want to get somebody out there as soon as possible to look at that house and give you a report. I've seen 50 pages reports from inspectors. They go over every nook and cranny in that house, and you're going to want to review it, actually look at it and review it with your agent and go over any repairs that you think, anything that's hazardous, so that you can negotiate with the seller, if possible, if it's not being sold as is.
Sorry, real quick. A good inspection company will allow you to attend while they're inspecting the house, so you can ask questions and they can educate you on what they see and what they're doing. As someone who went through the process, I love my home inspection person because they allowed me to witness and ask all the questions I wanted. And I highly recommend you do that because the more educated you are about the home, the more you can do things to have it properly prepared and maintenance. But it's hard to do so if you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. I second that. And I always recommend my clients to go to the home inspection. Make sure you're available that day. Me as your real estate agent, I'm going to be there because I got questions. Hold on, what's that? I think it looks wet. Can you tell me how wet? Is it too big? I need to know. So you need to have your real estate agent who's aware, who knows how to look at houses, read the inspection reports, and who has the time to come with you.
And a radon test.
And a radon test. So if you don't know what radon is a natural gas. It is odorless, smellless, so you wouldn't even be able to know, and it builds up in your basement, but it's deadly. So your home inspector usually is able to do your radon test as well. So that's an option that you want to keep in mind. Definitely always get the home inspection, and then a radon test is an optional inspection you can add on to that, especially if you have a basement that you're working in.
Oh yeah.
And then once we get through the inspections, we're good. We get through the inspections, all right, we're on to the next phase, and that is the appraisal. So we talked about the appraisal, what that is. So someone comes to the house, a professional, he comes, he looks at the house, and then he makes a decision on how much he thinks that property is valued at. He shares that information with your bank, and whatever amount that professional comes up with is the amount that your bank will lend you. The best scenario when you get an appraisal is for it to be higher than your purchase price. So if you're buying it for 60, but it appraised for 80, guess what? You got $20,000 in equity. Okay, that's the best scenario you can be in. Now, if it goes the other way, we got some work to do. Okay, and you really want to have a good agent who's going to go out and find them comps and come back at that appraiser and say, no, looky here, I think it's worth this. So there's options either way. But the situation that you want to be in is purchasing it for lower than what the appraisal value is. That's the best place to be. So once you pass your appraisal, that's done. Everything's good. The numbers are numbering. Everything's adding up. It's closing time. It's closing time. You're ready to go. And that's what we talked about. You're going to get with your title company. You're going to get with your loan officer.
Closing time is party time.
All right. All right. And if you got a good real estate agent, they'll have something nice for you at that closing table. At least me. I make sure I take care of mine. But yes. So closing day is a good day. It's a big day. You get your keys. You drop off that check and you exchange that for your keys to your new home. And then you'll be there with your lender, go over, sign a lot of paperwork. You just sign a lot of paperwork. That's what closing is about, sitting at the table and signing paperwork. And then you get access to your home. So that's the process. Anybody have any questions on that process or anything specifically? I know, I think we're a little over. So, all right, everything's down on me. All right, so we're going to sign off here. And if you have any questions, let me know. Let me get back on here and see. Q&A time.
And for those who missed it, my name is Tyler Culverson. I am a financial literacy educator. I do work with schools, nonprofits, organizations. I'm also a podcaster. I have a podcast called Financial Literacy with TC. Jump on YouTube. You can subscribe, check it out, drop a comment, check out some of the videos and the other content. Wow. And also I can be reached at 412-439-1441 or TC Notary LLC at outlook.com is all the ways you can find me.
You're and on say social that one media. More time. Oh, hey. Say it to Facebook. Facebook can hear you.
What's up, Facebook? This is Tyler Culverson here, financial literacy educator. I work with all individuals in helping them get into home buying or teaching financial literacy. I work with nonprofits, universities, schools, and I also do a podcast called Financial Literacy with TC.
Check them out.
Please check it out on YouTube, subscribe, drop a comment. Or even come on and be a guest. Right. Anyone who is an expert, or you own a business, or you're a CEO or executive director, if you have something you can contribute from a financial literacy topic, I would love to have you on. And again, my phone number is 412-439-1441. Please email me at tcnotaryllc@outlook.com, and you can find me on all social media platforms.
All right. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? I know we went over a lot of information. Anything specifically y'all want to ask about a loan, a home buying process, getting pre-approved, anything in that nature? Oh, yeah. Everybody who joins this live, anybody who's on Zoom, you, this is a $50 Amazon gift card. So all you got to do is comment on the video, and then I will put you in a raffle, and then we'll be announcing who the winner is. So if you would like to enter for this nice, wholesome $50 Amazon gift card, yeah, who don't love Amazon? Come on now. I know we all got Prime. Okay. So yeah, so you can win an Amazon gift card just for attending, just for dropping a comment on this video, and then Let me know. All right, and then we'll be in touch so you can get this Amazon gift card. Okay, so we are done. Thank everybody for who came and took the time to listen and learn. Appreciate you.
Shout out to Jayla. She did an amazing job.
All right, well, thank you guys. Like I said, I'm Jayla Jones, real estate agent with Keller Williams, and we're over now.